Marcus's adopted niece was drugged, lying in his arms with glazed eyes, saying she felt hot. He held her close, then turned and knelt, begging me. This is a potent drug from a certain foreign country. There's no antidote except to satisfy her. I raised this girl myself. I can't just stand by and watch another man take advantage of her. I loved him deeply, and being 7 months pregnant, I could only give in, tears streaming down my face. Until his niece was kidnapped again. His rival burned the hundreds of millions in ransom he sent, insisting that I be exchanged instead. Marcus locked himself away for 3 days and 3 nights. On the 4th day, he still opened my room door, his eyes red. Grace, please help me, I promise this will be the last time. Her father died saving me all those years ago. I can't let her die because of me too. At that moment, my love for him completely withered away. But later, when he saw me being showered with affection by his rival, he regretted it fiercely, begging me to come back. I can make the exchange for you, but you also have to agree to one condition. With that, I handed him a stock transfer agreement. 10% of Sterling's shares for your niece's safety. Do you agree? Marcus valued profit above all else, even after 6 years of marriage. He wouldn't budge on letting me join his company, let alone give up shares. Yet this time, he signed readily, without even glancing at it. He didn't even notice that I had tucked the divorce papers onto the last page. Then he held me tightly in his arms, soothing me in a low voice. Grace, I know I've wronged you these past few times. Just tell me what you want. I'll compensate you with everything I have, and we'll live a good life together with our baby from now on. But I let out a desolate laugh. There would be no future for us. From the moment he decided to hand me over as a plaything to his brutal rival, he had already sentenced our future to death. 3 minutes later, Marcus released me. He urged me to pack my suitcase, as if resolute. Ethan said that if you stay with him for 7 days, he'll let you go unharmed. Take care of yourself. I'll definitely come back for you in 7 days. I gave him a long, hard look, but said nothing. I turned and went back to my room to pack. But after I placed the divorce papers deep inside the suitcase, tears still welled up uncontrollably and streamed down my face. 6 years ago, my parents abandoned me in the deep mountains, where I nearly died in a wolf's maw. It was Marcus, passing by, who saved me. Now, he was personally sending me to another wolf's den to die. It effectively cancelled out his kindness from back then. After packing everything, I calmly walked out and stood by Marcus's car. But I saw him in the back seat, raptly stroking a watch engraved with his niece's portrait. He kept muttering her name, Scarlett, don't be scared. Uncle is bringing you home today. As long as you're safe, I don't care how many others have to be sacrificed. He was so absorbed that he didn't even notice me approaching. My heart, which I thought could no longer be hurt, still throbbed uncontrollably at that moment. Unable to help myself, I said in a cold voice, Marcus, open the door. He froze, then hastily stuffed the watch into his pocket. Grace, when did you get here? You didn't hear anything, did you? I closed my eyes, too tired to call him out. Just got here. I was a bit tired, so I didn't hear anything. Hearing that, Marcus carefully observed my expression. Seeing that I truly didn't seem angry, his tense heart finally relaxed. That's good. Why don't you get some sleep then? After all, it'll still take us an hour to reach Ethan's estate. But when I turned away, where he couldn't see, 2 silent tears escaped from the corners of my eyes. I silently vowed to myself, Grace, never forgive him again, soon. We arrived at the entrance of Ethan's private club. Scarlett was squatting alone by the roadside, looking pitiful. When she saw us, her eyes lit up instantly. Right in front of me, she ran and threw herself into Marcus's arms. And even kissed him directly. Marcus, I knew you'd come to save me. I'm the most important person in your heart. Ethan told me everything. You agreed to swap someone in my place ages ago. You just waited 3 days for appearances. Hearing that, Marcus looked at me, his face pale. Grace, don't misunderstand. It's not like that. Ethan must be trying to sow discord. You know how I feel about you, I would never. But before he could finish, I cut him off coldly. No need to explain. I don't care. Whether he'd agreed long ago or not, he had personally brought me here. It made no difference. Then I exchanged challenging glances. and all I felt was irony. It wasn't that I hadn't suspected the nature of their uncle-niece relationship before. Marcus not only set all his wallpapers to Scarlett, but the passwords for his home and bank cards were also her birthday. Even when Marcus and I were on dates, at every crucial moment, Scarlett would call him away with various excuses. Her dog falling ill was even more important than celebrating my birthday with me. But when I finally couldn't bear it anymore and confronted him, Marcus would always say I was overthinking things. She's just my niece. Can't you stop thinking so sordidly of people? At the time, I felt incredibly guilty, believing it was my fault for not trusting Marcus enough. But looking back now, I was just too naive. And thank you so much for being willing to come in my place this time. Otherwise, I don't know how much more torment I would have suffered. Scarlett hypocritically took my hand. It's just that you're pregnant, and if anything happened to you, I'd probably feel guilty for the rest of my life. Why don't we let Uncle and Ethan sort things out and have them send you for a procedure to deliver the baby first? I frowned, a bad premonition rising in my heart. The baby is only 7 months old. How can I deliver now? Besides, whether something happens to me or not is none of your concern, so don't worry about it. Scarlett, however, smiled slightly and said in a voice only we two could hear, "Don't worry, I'll help you." The next second, she decisively reached out and pushed me with all her might. Unprepared, I fell heavily to the ground. The back of my head hit a sharp part of the car, and blood immediately gushed out. Seeing this, Marcus rushed over. He scooped me into his arms. "Grace, are you all right? How could you be so careless?" "Don't worry, I'll take you to the hospital right now." I couldn't take it anymore, and pointing at Scarlett, I tearfully accused her. "She pushed me. She did it on purpose, Marcus. I'm in so much pain, you have to get justice for me." Hearing this, the worry in Marcus's eyes instantly turned into reproach and displeasure. "Grace, at a time like this, are you still trying to compete with Scarlett? She's so pure and kind, how could she possibly push you? Besides, I saw it. You lost your footing and fell yourself." After seeing Scarlett's forced tears, he even more coldly demanded that I admit fault and apologize. Scarlett was already traumatized by the kidnapping, and now you want to wrongly accuse her? How can she bear it? But I no longer had the strength to explain further to him. The continuous flow of blood from my lower abdomen stained the ground red. The injury to my forehead made me feel dizzy and lightheaded. My vision went black, and I fainted, completely losing consciousness. When I opened my eyes again, I had been taken to the hospital. Marcus sat in a chair by the hospital bed, his expression grave. Seeing me awake, he said hoarsely, "The baby couldn't be saved. You had a miscarriage." In an instant, I felt completely hollowed out. My chest felt as if an invisible hand was clenching it tight. Even though I had given up on Marcus, I had never thought of giving up this child. Because the doctor had told me my constitution was unique. I could only get pregnant once in my life. But now, I still couldn't save it. An uncontrollable surge of hatred welled up in my heart. I grabbed the nearby vase and forcefully hurled it at Scarlett, who had just walked into the hospital room. But, reacting quickly, lunged forward. He blocked it with his body. His eyes were full of disappointment. "Grace, are you insane? Why would you hurt Scarlett? What does your miscarriage have to do with her?" Scarlett also bit her lip, feigning grievance, "Aunt, I know you're hurting, but I truly didn't push you. I wanted the baby to be born safely more than anyone. How could I possibly harm him?" As she spoke, she suddenly knelt down again, banging her forehead heavily on the floor. "If Grace insists on blaming me, then I'll kowtow and apologize to you. Please don't be angry anymore." Again and again. She knocked her head so hard that her forehead quickly turned red and even started to bleed. Marcus watched, his heart aching. He reached out to help her up, then frowned at me in annoyance. "Are you satisfied now? Scarlett has already kowtowed to you, so just drop it." I completely lost my composure. "I told you she pushed me, which made me fall. My baby is gone, but she thinks a few head bows can make up for it? How dare she?" Marcus's face darkened, and his tone became unyielding. "Enough. I've already made Scarlett compromise. If you still want to hurt her, you'll have to kill me first." Then he tightly shielded Scarlett and turned to leave. The hospital room door was slammed shut, and I was left alone in the room once again. I reached out to touch my now flat abdomen. Tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. So, in Marcus's heart, I and our baby combined weren't worth even Scarlett's little finger. After an unknown amount of time, the hospital room door was pushed open again. Marcus walked in alone. His tone softened a bit. I was in a bad mood just now. Please don't take it personally. Rest and recover well. When you're better, we can go to Ethan's estate. I closed my eyes, not wanting to speak to him. He stood there for a moment, then continued, I know you harbor hatred, but you shouldn't direct it at Scarlett, she's innocent too. This time, I didn't argue, simply pretending not to hear. But before long, Scarlett walked in again, carrying a bowl of porridge. A cautious smile on her face. This is porridge I personally made for Aunt, I hope she'll drink some to calm down. A strong, fishy smell of seafood wafted over. But I'm allergic to seafood. Everyone in the G family knows that. You did this on purpose? I frowned, looking at her coldly. Scarlett turned, looking at Marcus with a wronged expression. Uncle, no matter what I do, Aunt dislikes it. Since I'm such an eyesore, maybe I should just die. Seeing this, Marcus immediately scooped a spoonful of porridge and brought it to my lips. It's just a bowl of seafood porridge. A little bit won't kill you. Don't be so dramatic. I don't want Scarlett to feel pressured. Seeing that I wouldn't drink, he actually tried to force it into my mouth. I fiercely bit the hand he offered. Yet he still managed to force half a bowl of the porridge down my throat. Soon, my skin began to itch. Large patches of red rashes appeared on my neck and arms. I coughed violently by the bedside, even throwing up a mouthful of blood. Only then did Marcus panic. Just as he reached out to help me, Scarlett suddenly ran towards the window. And, to wrongly accuse me, deliberately bit her own lip to spit out blood. Then I'll just die, as she wishes. Marcus immediately let go of me and rushed over to hug Scarlett. He glanced back, hastily telling me, Scarlett is emotionally unstable, I'll take her home first. If your condition worsens, call a nurse. With that, he carried her and left in a hurry. I let out a soft laugh. No need to call a nurse. You've wanted me dead for a long time, haven't you? So you could be with Scarlett without a care. Marcus froze, looking at me with a complex expression. Stop saying hurtful things. If this continues, I'll truly have to consider if you're still suitable to be Mrs. G. No need to consider. I forced a desolate smile. We've already divorced. The divorce papers were tucked into the last page of the stock transfer agreement. You signed them yourself. He paused, still not taking my words seriously. He sighed helplessly and left, carrying Scarlett. Just after they left, my phone rang. It was a message from an unknown number. This is Ethan. I was in a meeting. I heard something happened to you. Rest well for now. I'll come pick you up in half an hour. I stared at the screen, my heart numb. I didn't know Ethan, but I knew this was my only chance to leave Marcus. Besides, I was covered in injuries. It hurt even to move, so I could only lie in bed and wait. Just then, Scarlett updated her social media post. In the photo, Marcus was on one knee, putting custom high heels on her. The caption read, Uncle, to cheer me up, not only bought the country's only latest Chanel haute couture, but also gave me half of Sterling's shares. I looked at Marcus's gentle expression in the photo, a look I had never seen before. The last bit of warmth in my heart completely faded. I closed my eyes, letting tears silently fall. Half an hour later, the hospital room door was pushed open. Ethan walked in and lifted me into his arms. In a daze, I thought he looked somewhat familiar, but I couldn't remember where I had seen him before. I wearily closed my eyes, silently saying goodbye in my heart. Goodbye, Marcus, from this day forward, no matter how far apart we are, we will never meet again. Meanwhile, after soothing his niece, Marcus didn't feel the peace he had expected. His mind was filled with Grace's heartbroken face from before he left the hospital room. Marcus couldn't sit still any longer and sped to the hospital himself. Only one thought remained in his heart, he had to see Grace right now. To tell her that he would stay with her in the hospital for the next few days. If she truly didn't want to go, he would simply sever ties with Ethan completely. But when he rushed into the hospital room, he saw only an empty hospital bed. Marcus felt a wave of dizziness. He opened his phone and surprisingly saw a message from Ethan. "I've taken her. You couldn't protect her. From now on, I will." Marcus stared at the message from Ethan, his fingertips trembling slightly. He stood frozen for a full half-minute before coming back to his senses. Then he frantically dialed Ethan's phone number. He called 25 times, but none went through. He could only stumble out of the hospital in a daze and drive home. But just as he reached his doorstep, he heard Scarlett's voice from inside, talking on the phone. That, she still wanted to compete with me for uncle. Well, now look. Ethan took her away, she'll never come back. And I got rid of the brat in her belly. Didn't the doctor say she has a unique constitution and can only get pregnant once in her life? Now she has no value left at all, serves her right. Ha ha ha. Marcus's steps suddenly halted, the blood in his veins seemed to instantly freeze. He pushed open the door, and the laughter inside abruptly stopped. Seeing him, Scarlett hastily said, "Gotta go," into the phone. She quickly hung up, forcing a sweet smile onto her face. "Uncle, you're back." Marcus ignored her, his gaze as cold as ice. "What did you just say? That you deliberately caused the baby's loss?" Hearing that, Scarlett tried to brush it off, feigning composure. "Uncle, you must have misheard. I was just joking with a friend. How could I possibly harm Aunt, joking?" But grabbed her wrist and pushed her onto the sofa. The force made Scarlett wince in pain. "Do you really think I'm a fool? All this time, I've protected you, yet you treat Grace like this. Do you deserve my trust?" He had never treated Scarlett this way, and she started crying uncontrollably. Yet she remained defiant. "So what? Even without me, you would have broken her heart long ago. Uncle, you never loved her that much anyway, so why don't you just be with me? Besides, that day I was drugged, you were with." A sharp slap interrupted her. Scarlett clutched her face, looking at Marcus, in disbelief. His eyes were filled with disgust. "Shut up. Don't spout nonsense here. You know perfectly well I didn't touch you that day. No wonder Grace always had issues with you. So this is what you're really like behind her back." Then he pointed to the door, his voice chillingly cold. "Get out. From now on, I don't want to see you ever again." Only then did Scarlett panic. She scrambled up and hugged his arm, crying and pleading, "Uncle, I was wrong. I'll never dare again. Please don't kick me out. It's too late." Marcus violently shook off her hand and even kicked her. He shouted for the butler outside the door. "Throw her and her belongings out. Don't ever let her step foot in this house again." The butler didn't dare delay, escorting the wailing Scarlett out. Then took out his phone and mercilessly blocked and deleted all of Scarlett's contact information. After doing all this, he walked into the bedroom. He found his and Grace's marriage certificate. In the photo, Grace was smiling, her eyes curved, nestled beside him. But at some point, the smile on Grace's face had grown increasingly rare. Marcus silently lit a cigar. Amidst the swirling smoke, tears unexpectedly fell. He realized how foolish he had been, deceived by Scarlett's facade for so long. And he had personally pushed Grace away, making her suffer so much. Now the baby was gone, and Grace had left too. Only then did he belatedly realize that the person he truly loved had always been Grace. In his heart, only endless regret remained. Meanwhile, I was lying in Ethan's private hospital. Ethan had brought in the best doctors to help me recover. Then he sat by the bed, holding a bowl of warmed, nutritious porridge. He gently coaxed me. "The doctor said you're very weak and need to recover slowly. Don't worry, even if you can't have children again, I won't mind." I looked at him, shaking my head weakly, saying nothing. Everyone outside said Ethan's family built their wealth through illicit businesses. Ethan, as the patriarch, was rumored to be even more brutal and ruthless. Although he saved me, I always felt a little apprehensive. But to my surprise, during the week we spent together, I found him to be completely different from the rumors. Not only did he remember that I didn't eat cilantro, but he would also quietly come in and tuck me in when I coughed at night. Even his gaze towards me was always gentle, devoid of any cruelty. That day, I was staring at him in a daze, wondering why he was so different from the rumors. When he seemed to read my mind, a smile playing on his lips. "What, still afraid of me? I won't eat you." I was surprised he could even joke and paused for a moment. My gaze, however, inadvertently swept past the back of his ear. There was a small red birthmark there. I bolted upright, my voice trembling. Are you the little mute boy? When I was little, my parents dumped me at my grandmother's house in the countryside, where no one cared for me. There was a little boy in the village who couldn't speak and whose origins no one knew. Everyone called him the little mute boy. We were both abandoned children, which made us bond even more. We were inseparable every day, each other's only playmate. Until one day, a group of men in black suddenly took him away, and he was never heard from again. But I remembered clearly that he had a birthmark just like that behind his ear. Hearing this, Ethan's eyes instantly lit up. He smiled and nodded. You finally recognized me. I thought it would take longer. Then he paused, softly explaining, I wasn't actually mute as a child. Someone forced me to take a drug that made me mute, but I recovered later. Now, all matters concerning Ethan's estate are handled by me. He took my hand, his palm warm. From now on, I will protect you and never let anyone bully you again. I instinctively reached out and lightly touched his Adam's apple. Still unable to believe it. You can actually speak now? I'm relieved to know you're doing well. After he was taken away when we were children, I secretly cried for days. I was always worried he would be bullied. Now seeing him well and able to protect me, my heart felt a mix of bittersweet emotions. Ethan's ears turned red from my sudden action. But he didn't pull away. Instead, he squeezed my hand and said earnestly, Marcus wasn't good to you. Let me protect you from now on, okay? In truth, from the first moment I saw him, I felt an inexplicable fondness for him. Now, knowing he was the little mute boy from my childhood, that fondness grew even stronger. Snapping back to reality, I looked at his sincere eyes and softly nodded, okay. Seeing this, Ethan's smile deepened. He got up and brought over a bowl of freshly made nutritious porridge, feeding me spoonful by spoonful. After I finished drinking, he tucked the blanket around me. He softly said, rest well. I'm going out to handle some things. I'll come back to be with you tonight. I murmured hum and watched his back as he turned to leave. For the first time, I felt a sense of security. Perhaps leaving Marcus wasn't an end, but a new beginning. Ethan didn't return until evening. As soon as he pushed open the door, I saw a bandage on his forehead. He had clearly been injured. Even though he instinctively tried to turn his head to hide it, I still caught him. What happened to you? I quickly reached out to touch his wound, my voice filled with worry. It's nothing, just a minor conflict with a subordinate. A small injury. Ethan, however, refused to tell the truth, trying to brush it off. Don't lie to me. I frowned, not letting up. What exactly happened? Seeing he couldn't hide it, Ethan sighed helplessly. It was Marcus. He came looking for you, demanding I return you to him. When I refused, he attacked me. Hearing that, a wave of anger instantly surged through me. Don't mind him. We've been divorced for a long time. He has no right to come looking for me. Ethan's eyes suddenly lit up, and he grabbed my hand. Really? You're already divorced? I nodded, then turned and took out the divorce papers from my bag. I handed them to him. See, he signed this himself. Next time he comes to bother you, just show him this. Ethan stared at the signature on the agreement for a long time. Suddenly, he leaned down and pressed a gentle kiss on my forehead. I was worried you still had feelings for him, but I didn't expect you had already made up your mind. He smiled, his voice filled with delight. Since that's the case, I don't have to hold back anymore. That very night, Ethan made his move. Sterling had already suffered setbacks from previous projects. And with the help of the 10% shares in my possession, Ethan effortlessly sabotaged a crucial partnership for Sterling. Marcus completely panicked, frantically searching for my whereabouts like a madman. He finally found me at Ethan's private hospital. When he pushed open the door, I was leaning by the window, reading a book. Seeing me, he first paused. Then he quickly rushed over, his voice trembling imperceptibly. Grace, are you all right? After only a few days apart, Marcus looked much gaunter. I glanced up at him, my heart completely unmoved. Then I lowered my gaze back to my book, ignoring him. Marcus took a deep breath, not seeming to feel awkward. He thoroughly scrutinized me from head to toe. Seeing no obvious injuries on me, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. His voice was filled with lingering fear. You don't know, on my way here, countless scenarios of you being tormented by Ethan played out in my mind. If anything truly happened to you, I think I'd go mad. Why be so hypocritical? Unable to listen further, I closed my book and cut him off coldly. Weren't you the one who made me suffer all this in the first place? If it weren't for your precious niece, how would I have ended up in this situation today? How could my baby have died? Stop with the fake remorse. It makes me sick. Marcus was completely stunned, his eyes filled with disbelief. After all, the old me had always been cautious around him, never daring to speak loudly, afraid of making him angry. But now, my gaze toward him held only coldness and disgust. Grace, can you please not treat me like this? After a moment, he lowered his stance, his voice pleading. I know I was wrong, truly wrong. I've already sent Scarlett away. She'll never hurt you again. I hadn't expected him to kick Scarlett out and paused slightly. But my heart remained utterly unmoved. None of this concerns me anymore. I turned my face away, not wanting to look at him again. I don't want to hear this. Please leave. But stood rooted to the spot, refusing to leave. Then he stepped forward and actually knelt down before the hospital bed. His knees hit the floor with a heavy thud. Grace, if you still have anger, still have resentment, then hit me. He looked up at me, his eyes filled with humility. All the suffering and pain I caused you before, I'll pay it back, all right? As he spoke, he reached out to grab my hand, intending to slap himself with it. I yanked my hand back fiercely and coldly turned my face away. But he wouldn't give up, and he unexpectedly pulled out a fruit knife from somewhere. He plunged it into his arm without hesitation. Blood immediately gushed out, staining his clothes red. He looked at me, forcing a bleak smile. Are you satisfied now? Have you gotten your revenge? I watched the blood continuously flowing from his arm in shock, my heart seizing up. But not from sympathy, rather from a sense of absurdity. Are you insane? I frowned, my tone icy. What's the point of doing this? I won't feel sorry for you. Even if you die, I won't feel anything. Marcus froze in place, staring at me blankly for a long time. His lips moved, but no words came out. After a good while, he slowly shook his head, managing to squeeze out a sentence. Impossible. You must be angry with me. How could you not care about me? Then, more and more blood flowed from his arm, staining the floor red. I averted my gaze, not wanting to watch this suffocating scene any longer. Just then, the hospital room door was violently pushed open. Ethan walked in quickly. He had heard that Marcus had burst in and immediately rushed over from Ethan's private club. But seeing the scene before him, Ethan's face instantly darkened. He immediately stood in front of me and kicked Marcus to the ground. What the hell is wrong with you? Ethan's voice was filled with rage. If you have a problem, come at me. Don't harass Grace here. When he caught sight of Marcus's bleeding arm, the disgust in his eyes intensified, trying to force Grace into submission with self-harm tricks? Have some decency. Marcus scrambled up from the ground, his eyes bloodshot. Like an out-of-control beast, he roared at Ethan. What right do you have to tell me what to do? Grace is my wife. It's none of your business to meddle in our relationship. Before he even finished speaking, the two men began to fight. 5 minutes later, the hospital room was a mess. I watched the farce before me, feeling nothing but immense irritation. Stop it, both of you. Marcus, if you keep this up, get out. The two men paused, both looking at me. I took a deep breath and said, word for word, who told you I'm still your wife? We've been divorced for a long time. Now, I'm Ethan's girlfriend. You have no right to interfere in our affairs. Marcus was completely stunned, his eyes filled with disbelief. Ethan took the opportunity to pin him against the wall, firmly gripping his wrist. Then I took 2 divorce certificates out of my bag. I had just asked my lawyer to obtain them yesterday. I didn't expect them to come in handy today. I walked over and forcefully threw the divorce certificates at Marcus's face. Look clearly. We're divorced, and it's legal. From now on, don't ever appear before me again. Marcus's strength instantly drained away. He slowly slid down the wall, eventually collapsing onto the floor. He picked up the divorce certificates from the floor, his fingers trembling as he traced the words on them. His voice was hoarse. "I was wrong, Grace, I was truly wrong. Please don't abandon me." As he spoke, he actually tried to tear up the divorce certificates. Ethan quickly snatched them away from him. "It's not that I didn't give you a chance," I looked at his pathetic state, my heart completely unmoved. "You didn't cherish it yourself, so don't blame me for being heartless." Then I gave Ethan a look. Ethan took Marcus by force and dragged him out. I thought that was the end, but Marcus seemed to be possessed. Every day, he would wait for me downstairs at the hospital, standing there regardless of the wind or rain. Sometimes he would stand there all day, until it poured rain, and he was drenched, finally collapsing right at the entrance. I heard the news when the security guards carried him away, but I still felt no softening in my heart. I thought this would make him give up completely, but after he recovered from his injuries, he came looking for me again. He ended up in a car accident on the way, broke a leg, and became crippled. From then on, he could no longer block my way at the hospital. He could only stay in the empty mansion, guarding our old photos and belongings. Later, he sent me messages from a secondary account saying he wouldn't commit suicide if I would just go back to see him once. I didn't reply or acknowledge him. Yet, a bad premonition arose in my heart. Sure enough, the next day, news spread that he had taken an overdose of sleeping pills at home. At this time, I was sunbathing in the garden Ethan had prepared for me. The warm sunlight fell upon me, and there was no sadness in my heart, only a sense of finally being free. Ethan walked over and gently took my hand. "It's all over now." I looked up at him and smiled. "Yes, it's all over." From then on, Ethan and I never spoke Marcus's name again. For the rest of our lives, it would be good days for just the two of us. Thank you for reading. If you enjoyed this story, please like and share it with your friends. We also look forward to hearing your genuine thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to leave a message and interact. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for daily updates on exciting stories. See you next time.